couple of broad questions that people have asked me. And one is, why are atheists so arrogant? And it brings to mind a quote which I unfortunately can't take credit for because I love it, but I read it somewhere. Is that atheism is the arrogant belief that the entire universe was not created for our benefit. And that contrasts with the humble religious belief that the most powerful creature ever created the entire universe of over 100 billion galaxies, each of which contains over 100 billion stars like our sun, and then waited for about 14 billion years, and then picked one of the 100 billion galaxies, and then picked one of the 100 billion stars within that galaxy, and then picked one of the planets circling that star, and then picked one of the millions of species that have existed on that planet, and then picked one individual of that species and said, I really think I've got to tell that guy to stop gathering sticks on the Sabbath. It's an extraordinary set of priorities for such a busy individual. The other set of questions that I'm asked about this is, why is there an atheist convention? Why is there a need for such a thing? And it kind of comes back to a discussion that we have within atheism circles, which uses the phrase sometimes that atheism is like not collecting stamps, and that there isn't a word for not collecting stamps, and that there aren't conventions discussing not collecting stamps. And that would be the case in an ideal world. But in the real world, atheism is like not collecting stamps in a society where almost everybody collects stamps, and most people believe that the post office created the universe, and that we have to examine our stamp collections before we decide what's right or wrong, or before we decide what laws to pass. And if we did live in such a world, I can assure you, there would be a word for not collecting stamps, and there would be conventions dedicated to discussing not collecting stamps. And so that is why there is a need in the real world for atheism, why there is a need in the real world for atheist organisations and atheist advocacy.
Aphilatalist.
And, yes, aphilatalist.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. We'll add that to our mission statement.